Shalom to all my brothers and sisters. Welcome. The new moon. One characteristic of observant Karaites has always been their following the biblical practice of using the physical sighting of the new moon to declare new months and to set the dates of holidays. Originally, the Rabbinites or Orthodox Jews also followed the biblical calendar as well, as stated in their very Mishnah in Rosh Hashanah, chapter 1, verse 3, chapter 3, verse 1, chapter 4, verse 4. The Rabbinites continued to follow the new moon observations until at least the 2nd century CE, but gradually replaced them with rough calculations intended to approximate the lunar cycle because of persecution by the Romans and later the Catholic Church, constant persecution and removal of the land of Israel. In contrast, the Karaites remained loyal to the true biblical calendar and continued to follow new moon observations throughout the Middle Ages, and even up until today. The Karaite commitment to the biblical calendar was so ingrained in our consciousness that a solemn oath was incorporated into our wedding ceremonies, which declare to keep the holy appointed times according to the visibility of the new moon and the finding of the Aviv, ripening ears of barley, in the land of Israel. Similarly, on high holidays, the Karaite congregation would publicly declare the truth of the new moon Aviv calendar. It would be an announcement to declare it. The Bible, or Tanakh, clearly indicates the role of the moon in the biblical calendar. The evidence of this comes from, for example, Psalms chapter 104, verse 19, in which it states, He created the moon for Mo'adim, appointed times. Keeping the holidays at their correct time is a direct commandment from the Torah. As it is written, These are the Mo'adim, appointed times of YHWH, holy convocations, which you shall proclaim in their appointed times, Mo'adam or Mo'adim. That's in Leviticus chapter 23, verse 4. During most Karaite holiday services, this verse is read aloud by the Hazan or the Cantor at the synagogue and repeated by the entire congregation to express the Karaite adherence to this clear biblical injunction. At a time when Israelites did not have daily access to the land of Israel, the rabbis developed a system to calculate the approximate time when the moon would have been sighted from Israel. Today, now that we have returned to our land, we are able to gather new moon sightings from various places throughout Israel. These new moon sightings reveal that the rabbinical calculations for the calendar are often, very often, incorrect. When asked why they do not change back their observance to follow the actual biblical calendar according to Torah and the new moon, the rabbis often respond that only the Sanhedrin can declare a new moon. Since today there is no Sanhedrin at all, they further claim we must follow the rabbinic calculations that have been predicted, the new moons. This is the idea presented in the following article of the Shabbat Jewish movement regarding the start of Passover. Now listen carefully. Were there a Sanhedrin today, the upcoming new moon day of Nisan would not fall out on Sunday, March 25th, 2001, but rather on Tuesday, March 27, 2001. Since the earliest possible occasion to sight the new moon will be on Monday night. From an interview with new moon expert Dr. Roy Hoffman of Hebrew University of Jerusalem. Interestingly enough, Dr. Hoffman was correct, and the new moon was seen on Monday night, as he and the Karaites predicted. Thus, observant Karaites celebrated the beginning of Passover on that Monday night, while the Rabbinites celebrated it on Saturday night, 2 days earlier. The implications of this are very serious. in that on the last days of Passover, based on the visibility of the moon, the Rabbinites were eating leavened bread. It is for this reason that Karaites cannot adopt the Rabbinical calendar and must continue to use the new moon observations, the biblical calendar given by the Creator. The Rabbinic calendar may have served a need for the Jewish communities far from Israel at that time because they were persecuted and removed. And when they were exiled from their land as well, they had to use something, and that's what they tried to do. However, now that we have access to the land of Israel once again, it is time for our Rabbinite brothers and sisters, Orthodox Jews as well, to return to the physical observance of the Aviv, barley, and the new moon, the biblical calendar as given by the Creator that was used long ago by our Orthodox brothers and sisters. So, briefly, I just discussed the lunar calendar, the biblical calendar, of its importance today as it was when it was given. We must follow the biblical calendar according to the Creator. The Karaites have done this from the beginning of time until today, and we strive to continue this. We have much help online, now that we have online communications such as Facebook and other means. We can now help each other to sight the new moon if we're not able to get to the land. But the point is that we must come back, even our Orthodox brothers and sisters. I ask you to consider pushing for this because it is important that we come back to the truth. And the truth was kept long ago by even our Rabbinite brothers and sisters. It's time to come back to Elohim's eternal biblical calendar as given at Mount Sinai for all of Israel to keep. Shalom.